Ever wonder what's more important, health or weight loss? Well, in this video, I'm going to answer that for you. Kind of. I think it's an important discussion to have, to be honest, because people are so driven to lose weight. They've actually lost their weight on other positive things they could be doing in their life for the better. So in this video, I'll give my point of view on what's more important, weight loss or health. And if that helps you with some guidance on the subject, I'll then explain what one you should maybe focus on first. And I'm then going to explain what you should do if you're stuck between struggling to lose weight and wondering what to do instead, which I think you should seriously consider, because what I'm going to recommend is a much more enjoyable route to eventual weight loss later on. And that's because there is a fun way of losing weight that is healthy and enjoyable. Can you think of what it is? If not, stay tuned. But before we start, in the interest of this discussion, I need to explain what I mean. So weight loss is pretty simple. Losing fat mass, whereas health is anything that is not weight loss. So that's just looking after yourself in general, eating well and getting strong, healthy mindset, etc. Anyway, before we begin, a little disclaimer if you will. I honestly do not know what the definitive answer is to this. I don't know if there's any factual, studied answers to this question, but I will give you my point of view in the next few minutes, for what it's worth. So you might actually be wondering why I've made this video. It's more to get you thinking a little bit more about what you can do with your sexy body, because you do only have one of them, and there are other things to consider than struggling to lose weight, which most of you do out there. It really doesn't take much to make irreversible changes that could cost you your life, or at the very least your freedom of a healthy life, which I hand on heart don't think many of you have grasped that yet. You are literally eating yourself into health issues, or lazily sitting on your arse to health issues. Otherwise you would not be eating your McDonald's consistently, because you would know how terrible it is for you every day, and you would actually happily be able to see your willy when you're in the shower. But you might actually be feeling that weight loss at this moment in time is too difficult, which is actually a shame, because it might make you feel and look like a failure, which obviously isn't true. And I think you might feel like that because we're kind of programmed to think that weight loss is the only thing you can do with your body to be healthy, and that could not be less true. There is tons of less true things out there, bigger failures in life, like flat earthers. So stick around and I'm going to explain to you what you can do if you've been trying to lose weight for so long but simply not getting anywhere. So what's more important then, health or weight loss? As I was scripting this video out, I was actually sitting there without an answer to this, to be honest. I'm kind of winging it, but I do think if you want to keep the doctor happy, you would definitely want to focus on weight first. Losing weight will simply improve every part of your life if you're overweight, but you just might be a bit delusional about it. Like if you went to a doctor and they said, you need to lose weight, and you say to them, no, I'm actually healthy. That's just being silly. But who's actually going to the doctors these days for a personal MOT and actually getting checkups these days? Probably nobody. You're only really going when something is seriously wrong with you, aren't you? And yes, I know, NHS is on its knees, but still, you aren't going for like an annual checkup or anything like that. Which is funny because you would take the dog to the vet consistently for its jags and whatnot. If there was a serious issue with it, you also take your car to its yearly MOT. Imagine how different the world would be if people had to get a mandatory yearly MOT on their body. That would definitely not happen. If they did that though, people would genuinely get healthier quicker, I think. They would put more effort into it anyway. I think the absolute irony as well is that your car and your dog would mean very little to you if you're unhealthy and lying in hospital. Am I right? Anyway, I would actually say that general health and well-being is much more important than weight loss, regardless of what your weight actually is. That's not me saying to ignore your weight completely. Obviously lose it if you can, but for some out there, weight loss is hard, with a billion of things out there that makes eating healthy hard, like sweet treats, nights out, booze, quick and convenient foods, not to mention a ton of things that are making you even lazier, transport, e-scooters, escalators, Netflix. I mean, you can even control your washing machine from your phone, for fuck's sake. We are living in the most laziest world ever. As a whole society, and because of the state that we're in, are failing weight loss far too often at the moment. We need to start just getting happy again. And you can definitely still be healthy and classed as overweight these days, providing you exercise well, and also making sure you're not glazing over any issues that potential excess weight is actually causing. Because you can't ignore the doctor's recommendations of losing weight, even if you were to say to him, but I go to the gym, bro. Listen to the professionals, please. But you may be one of the people that are feeling like weight loss is a lost cause now, which I would argue isn't entirely true, but you might genuinely just need a break from attempting it. Failing endlessly at weight loss must be depressing, so isn't it about time we change that up? Does that sound like a good idea? Because there is something else I would advise you to do, something that could be arguably a bit more fun, maybe even a bit more empowering, as it gives you a bit more bragging rights and reasons to boast. I would also argue it's the very thing that you need to do for the next few months to finally then get that weight you want off. If you think of weight loss like a car journey, that weight loss calorie deficit is a direct road to your goal, right? Yeah, you might get quick results, but it was along the most boring, miserable motorway. What I'm proposing though is that you take the scenic route in your car journey to your goal of being more healthy. Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer, but it will be more fun. And that scenic route goal is getting strong, which I'm going to talk about more in a minute. But if you think about this, that direct weight loss journey, you're likely going to view it as boring, restrictive, feeling tired, lack of energy, too much exercise, aches and pains, all pretty miserable. But the getting stronger and scenic route, you would be eating more of the food you enjoy, the feeling of getting and actually feeling stronger, hitting goals, maximum energy, feeling refreshed and fueled, higher libido, feeling less less stressed, not being a miserable fucker. And what you do during this scenic route is discover foods and habits that make you feel class for a few months. And then you would turn your focus back to that fat loss with all these new habits that you've made. That is if you haven't lost weight in this time, because there is a possibility that you would get strong and lose weight at the same time. But more importantly than that, you would get in the right headspace and feel positive and happy for yourself, maybe for the first time in a while. And then you would just crack on. And if any of this is sounding too good to be true, I have another offer that will back this up. I've got 31 emails I can send you over 31 days to help you build your very own diet, one that is built around your life rather than the other way around. All you need to do is give me your email address below. But my final point is this: I've been quite harsh in the past for you folks who can't lose weight. Despite being very simple maths on paper, there's a billion reasons stopping that actually happening in your life. Be it issues with food, bad examples in the past, trauma, stress, hectic lives, you name it, all justifiable reasons in your life, hopefully anyway. But maybe it's time to shelve the idea of weight loss for now, because for some of you with the above issues of trying to lose weight, there's not really a weight loss versus health discussion right now, because you have issues with weight loss. So many issues you can't stand the thought of trying it out again, and even if you did, it's likely going to end badly, which is absolutely fine because I would be in the same boat as you. So what can you actually do instead? Because you're probably feeling like you're going to be on a rough ride with illnesses and poor health and injuries for the rest of your life, and you probably want to give up, which I would advise you not to do. I would just change it up, because you could just get strong, stronger than you have ever been before. Because studies have shown that people who exercise and are overweight, whatever that means to you, they can have better health markers than people who weigh less than them and don't exercise. I guess you could maybe think of this of like competing strongmen. They're arguably obese, some of them anyway, but I bet you they are healthier than Stephen, who is the same weight, likely even lighter. And what Stephen does is sit on his arse all day in his basement, playing Xbox and shouting at little kids and arguing on Twitter. You know, the type of guy whose biggest effort in his day is the poop that he does in the morning, noon and night. Let's hopefully not end up like Stephen though. So just get strong, friend. Lastly, actually, see if you even look in the mirror and you like what you see and you don't go to the gym. First off, I do applaud you, because not many people will say that and actually mean it. But if that is the case, you still get strong. The benefits of having a fully functioning body that can squat, deadlift, push and pull some decent weight will never not help you with longevity. It's just something to think about. But before we finish up, I want to make another point. I don't think we now live in a day and age where other people try to tell you what to do. And even if there is, you are probably not listening to them. There's certainly numpties out there trying to influence you, which I hope you do not fall for. But anyway, just be sure any changes you want to do, just make sure they're your changes on your terms. You should not be trying to lose weight just because somebody else is doing it on Instagram, or you should think you look like, or you want to look like them. I'm obviously not trying to tell you to do anything. I'm really just trying to give you the tools as and when you need them. If I was to encourage you to do anything, it would simply be just to get strong, because it would literally be the best thing you would ever do for you, your family, and your overall life. There's nothing wrong than living this short time on this planet miserably, and people do it unfortunately. So if that's you just now, let's change it, and you can start right now by signing up to my emails, which were designed to do that. Anyway, as I've mentioned earlier, the health and weight loss malarkey is a never-ending debate, and I don't think I've done anything to resolve it in this video, but it can be quite hard carrying out both without some support behind you in your corner, which is absolutely fine, because I have made this video right here to explain why I think support is the very thing that you need to get in the shape that you've always wanted. And if you need further support after the millions of videos and content I've put out on YouTube already, just get in touch and I'll help you out for free. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.